Admins, we have to skip Reckoner week, something crucial just been discovered.
Bro,
Dude,
he is
John
cooked.
cooked. John cooked.
Yeah, it's John Cook.
John cooked, bro.
I don't really like the term tank in multiplayer games. Now, yeah, if we're talking about a PvE game, you can see where it's coming from, right? You have tank players taking aggro from bosses, or like taunting them to outright force the aggro on them. In single player games, you have characters that are meant to be general hit takers, but in multiplayer games, more often than not, the term tank is used to describe a fat DPS character, which, don't get me wrong, that's why I generally gravitate towards it, but it just feels a little bit misleading. Today, I am going to be talking about the OG fat DPS character, the Heavy Weapons Gentleman, and how he interacts with the game as a whole. Let's roll.
Them $200 bullets ain't so hot when they don't hit nothing, are they?
We are already going in the deep. For many heavy players, Scout is considered to be the hardest matchup for heavy. Now, I don't really agree, but I see where they are coming from. Scout is fast, small, and that generally makes him hard to hit. He also likes getting up close and personal, which Heavy generally doesn't like. But at the same time, Scout has low health and is weak to hitscan weapons because he can't really dodge them like he can with rockets, pipes or stickies. Also, if he finds you unprepared, he should kill you, that's just how his class works. But other than that, I generally feel this matchup is pretty close. Most of the time, it feels like a skill matchup, meaning that the better player generally wins. If you find yourself dying to scouts too often, it might be because of either A, lack of general awareness, B, bad positioning, or C, lack of mechanical skill. Let's tackle this one at a time. If you are unaware of what's going on around you, you need to start paying attention more. Look at the kill feed, the death tracker on the top, the health of the people around you, any sound cue in the game, or even just a damage indicator on your screen. These are important tools to use since there is no minimap in this game. Next, I'll tackle on positioning. If you are in a spot that has no escape routes, no way to hide your hitbox, or somewhere that you can just get flanked on, don't expect your health pool to just save you every time from dying. Now, of course you will be forced into being in a bad spot because of stuff outside of your control, either because your team is pushing and you want to support them, or because you want to avoid being seen by a sniper, but if you find yourself in bad spots all the time, it is your fault for being there. You control your character. Lastly, skill issue. I'ma be honest with you, I cannot really help you with the whole getting better shtick beyond telling you exactly what you already know. The only tip I can give you, if you kill him before he gets close, you're generally not gonna need to aim that much. Another thing that might help you with this matchup is your weapon choice. If you've noticed, in a lot of these background clips, I am using the stock minigun, and for those that actually know me, you know that I'm a Tomislav Andy. There is a reason for that. Stock is a lot more forgiving in close range. Now that's not to say that it is impossible to kill scouts with a Tomislav, but if you find yourself struggling versus them, it can be a pretty good alternative. I'm not gonna talk about the Natasha because the Natasha sucks against everything that isn't a scout, or just like a jumping soldier. One last thing, if you are ever in a situation in which you are getting milked by a scout, it takes this matchup that is relatively even into a pretty much impossible matchup for the heavy to win. Every class in the game can literally WM1 into you when you are milked. Thankfully, most people don't actually use the two most broken weapons in the game when they are playing in pubs, and they are both banned in any form of competitive, so we are all good.
Down and give me 20.
You know how I talked about Scout for a while because it is a well-balanced, extremely skillful matchup? Yeah, let's just say that the Soldier section will not be that long. Soldier is pretty much in all aspects of the game outright countered by Heavy. Soldier wants to jump in, do damage, or create chaos, and or go behind. What does Heavy want to do? Shoot jumpers. More often than not, I don't find myself going after soldiers. It just sort of happens that I kill them. Now, if you find yourself in a genuine 1v1, then it might be a bit tricky, but so long as you don't overextend by trying to chase them through a corner, or like try to fight them when they can corner pick you, you should be okay. You can outgun them. Even less to talk about here. Again, so long as you don't let them just corner pick you, you are generally speaking pretty much outright stat checking them. The main thing to keep in mind is that since you can actually kill an enemy Pyro, your team super appreciates you for it. He can deny Ubers, reflect projectiles back, annoy snipers at a distance. Most of your team actually really dislikes playing against Pyro, and one of the most subtle ways to carry as heavy in Highlander is by just killing the enemy Pyro. One last thing, Generally speaking, Pyros will not really interact with you because they have a functioning brain. For those that do, please keep punishing them. Do not give them space just because.
If you are hunting trouble, lad, you found it.
Now we go to the actual hardest heavy matchup. I mean, if you find him just kind of hanging out, you can just gun him down, and especially if he doesn't have stickies or his stickies aren't meant for spam, you can pretty much just stat check him, a lot like Pyro actually. But if he does have stickies, things do get a lot complicated. Heavy by design needs line of sight to hit an enemy. Demo does not. Even in close range, an overhealed Demo can literally just walk up to you and pipe you 3 times, with pretty much no fear at all. Fundamentally speaking, Demo can make your class unable to play the game, more so than even Sniper. With all that being said though, Demo is the most important damage class in competitive TF2. In 6s he shuts down entire chokes on his own, and in Highlander he is not only the single highest damage dealing class, but also has pretty much no direct counters except for maybe Pyro. If you ever find yourself in a situation in which you can trade yourself with a Demo man, you're always taking that trade, because especially on lower divs, killing a Demo effectively means you are killing the entire enemy team's push, and since he's such a busy guy, he doesn't really specifically have time to deny. Sometimes Demo is a jumper as well, in which case he's pretty much a weaker soldier during the jump most of the time. With all that being said though, if a Demo does want to ruin your life, he very much can. The only real advice I can give you for that situation is if you're currently getting spammed, don't just sit there and die. Respect the spam, back off for a bit. Once he has stopped spamming you, then you can start aggressing again. And if he doesn't stop, well, that means that he's doing nothing, which you can also take as a positive outcome.
I have seen the enemy, and he is ours.
The heavy 1v1 is actually quite simple, and it depends on a lot of really specific factors. Who shot first, which gun is each heavy using, range, who revved first, if either of you is getting healed, and lastly the medigun choice. Especially the vaccinate.
Yeah, bro, you're killing Askapachangus Deluxe.
Which there really isn't too much you can do against it, since heavy only has one damage type. But these are stuff that have been talked to death already. I feel like the most important aspect of it though, even though it isn't talked about at all, is positioning. To be more specific, anything that can hide your hitbox in any way, aka head high walls, or even like regular walls. I mean, generally speaking that helps against any hitscan class, but it goes even more for enemy heavies. If 50% of your bullets are going into the wall, it doesn't really matter that you got less HP. Crouching also helps because it makes the enemy have a forceful readjustment of their crosshair, plus it can make your hitbox smaller. And of course, worst comes to worst, you can always try to unrev and serve the bullets to safety.
Gotcha, fat boy.
In general, you will not be really dealing with the Engie himself, but rather you will be mostly facing his buildings. With that being said, if an Engie is trigger happy and he wants to walk at
I'm
you,
gonna lay you out.
let him know his place. The main one I have heard heavies complaining about when it comes to Engie is the Wrangler. I'ma be frank, I find this weapon very easy to deal with. You only need to follow 2 principles and you pretty much will never have a hard time against the Wrangler gun. First is to just keep on shooting. No damage fall off versus guns, although there is a minigun passive that reduces damage versus guns in combination with a Wrangler resistance, but you really shouldn't care. If you keep on shooting, you're putting pressure on the Engie, which might force him to make a mistake and either walk up to heal it, in which case he might be walking into a sightline, or make him tank the gun perma, which will mean that the gun isn't shooting back at anyone. And the second principle is to always have a way to break line of sight. If the Engie can just wrangle at you, you are risking dying for no reason. Oh, also, if you can just kill the Engie, it's very realistic.
Prepare for your examination.
Okay, this is a weird one. Medic makes the game objectively harder for heavy. Believe it or not, tanking someone with a medigun makes them significantly harder to kill if you have a damage per second weapon. If you're hitting your shots with a burst damage weapon, you can still 2-shot most classes even if they are getting healed. The same cannot be said about the minigun. I have already talked about the Vaccinator, which might as well read if you're top scoring as anyone but Spy and Pyro. But every other medigun is an issue too, except for the quick fix, because it sucks. Arrow tanking might as well also uber the person as well versus heavy. Buffs also make it pretty difficult for you to kill most classes, but also Much like Demo, getting a medic kill pretty much destroys the whole enemy team's push. But sadly, you don't actually get to interact with the enemy medic much, especially if he has a functioning prefrontal cortex.
Nigga wanna see me fall. Stephen Curry, how I ball. Gosha garments ain't a right.
From there, your best play is honestly to just keep on chipping on the enemy team, effectively reduce their heals because of the constant reset of their crit heals. Other than that, keep in mind that Ubert players tend to be a bit more overconfident than usual, meaning that you can waste a bit more of their time or even just kill people behind the Uber. Or if it's crits or quick fix, you can't just outright kill the patient or the medic through the Uber because they don't have any real defensive buffs.
Thanks for being such a whopping big target, mate.
Much like how Demo and Medic basically are the reason that the push happens, Sniper is generally the reason that the push doesn't happen. Killing an enemy sniper isn't really hard. If you're in close range, you literally have nothing to fear. Even if he quickscopes you, it literally does not matter, unless the enemy sniper is a psychopath that charges up a shot in point blank range. But with that being said, you can't really do much if he's farther away from you. Little known fact, by the way, the minigun doesn't actually flinch sniper at long range. If your medic is running crits, you could try to counter snipe him, which is always fun since most snipers no longer really charge their shots, they just quickscope perma. Other than that though, really avoiding him is your general best course of action.
Marvelous.
Some consider this matchup difficult, but I would say it really depends on the specific spy. Some spies in competitive really go for heavies, others pretty much never do. I tend to not be too scared of spies that perma go for me, not because of ego or anything, but rather because even if I fuck up to keep myself safe, it means that he's generally not really damaging my team insanely by going after my medic, demo, or sniper. Plus I can just call his position and my team can take care of it. Now if he's actively going after my team and never after me, that's a different story. I can't really provide them with much support, besides like spy checking and calling for people to turn around, so I'm generally pretty scared of this. Now, if we are talking about a real trickster, you know, aka someone that perma walks into your face trying to be Ezio Auditore, you don't really actually have to do much. Keeping your cool and simply not moving your crosshair much actually makes them miss most of the time. Very few spies in the world are actually capable enough to properly transition a Matador into a circle strafe. And even if the enemy spy does this, you can adjust your approach next time and be prepared for what he's about to do. And there you have it. At the end of the day, Heavy isn't some immovable god of war, nor is he some slow meat shield that is just waiting to get shot. He is a class built around control, positioning, and making smart decisions with your limited tools. You don't win by just holding down M1 and hoping that the enemy loses their brain cells. At least, not all the time. Thanks for sticking through all of this. Hope it helped or at least gave you some different perspective. This has been Hamon, signing off.